Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the home stretch. We have a couple floors to traverse, and we are basically just going to run away from fights and heal. I think we have a couple behemoths we have to kill. That enemy in particular, oh my god, is really obnoxious because it has a large script to it, so it automatically just inputs a bunch of commands, which means you can't immediately run away. I don't think we need any of these treasure chests. If I'm remembering correctly, it's a bunch of, mostly a bunch of shurikens and maybe like a elixir or something like that. We've got like 10 elixirs. Oh, hey, a Geishel whistle. That's actually really neat that they would put that in there. So, the last treasure chest that you find here is a Geishel whistle, which lets you summon the fat chocobo. That means that if you are down here on floor 10, okay, maybe not last, one of the last. So that means if you're down here in the bottom of the dungeon and you can't get to your fat chocobo, if you decide you want different gear, they give you a way to retrieve it from your inventory. This must be a regular enemy, not a set encounter. Yeah. So yeah, this is just floor after floor after floor of dragons and behemoths and other awful... I have no idea what this even is. It looks unfun. Let's just get out of here. Reporting to Master Zeromus. Okay, that's screwed up and weird. Okay, this should be it. So just think we're good. Make sure I used all those apples. Okay, so this is it. Golbez, Fusoya. We see Zeromus, the Lunarian. Fusoya and Golbez are gonna fight him. Seems like a good strategy. Slow. I mean, most bosses can't be affected by hold, so that's probably not the best call. Just saying, Fusoya, you could do better. Okay. So the two of them are going to work together to cast Meteor. I find it amusing that Meteor is this, like, continuous... Like, it's implied that you must sacrifice yourself to cast it. By every time the body dies, but the spirit lives on. Like, every time an NPC casts Meteor, or it's in a cutscene, it's this awesome, crazy thing. But Fusoya can just cast Meteor. Like, he knows the spell. And Rydia can learn it, so can Palom. You have much strength. It is the same Zeromus had control of your powers. Oh wait, no, actually, Fusoya can't cast Meteor. Palom and Rydia. All of you have come. Just a second too late. I was supposed to finish him. Cecil. Oh no! I am shocked that this boss has a second ultimate form. That never happens in Final Fantasy game. We are evil. We are the hatred of Zeromus. We are Zeromus. We Lilgal. We are Venom? His death caused his hatred and resentment to grow. We've only served to intensify his evil. Zeromus, no. Now you are Zeromus. This time I will see to it that you are completely destroyed. Okay, so we got another... I cast Meteor again. And it heals him. Meteor has no effect. Use the crystal. You chose the dark path. The crystal cannot cleanse your sins. You are bound by darkness forever. Die. Okay. And he's going to return a meteor. We get to sit through 3 meteor animations for this cutscene for some reason. And he wipes Golbez and Fusoya off the map. Our hatred will continue until all is destroyed. Come join us in hell. Elder. Cecil and the others are in danger. See. Now is the time to pray for them. Pray for them and for this planet. Palom, Thorum, we must pray hard to send our prayers to Cecil. Okay. Please take my strength. I'm gonna kill the whole lot of you if you don't come back safe. Please return to us safely. Do it for this land. We are supporting you. We will pray as well. Sir Cecil, everyone. O sacred moon, I call out to you, please accept our prayer. Okay. Okay, Golbez gives us the crystal. Okay. Palom and Thorum. Their prayers give us life. have Edward with Tella's ghost. Starts healing. You are not just fighting for yourselves. Don't die on us. You must prevail, brother. Give to the crystal the holy power within you. Zeromus, show your true self. Okay. So Cecil has to use the crystal. And we get the true self. Let's do this. So basically what we're gonna do, this should cause him to counterattack. That's not the counterattack I was expecting. Never mind, that was a bad idea. Big Bang, this is it. That was more than I was expecting. So we didn't actually get the nerf off because I used a summon instead of a spell. And I think we're just gonna toss the Mega Elixir right now. Okay, once he shakes, that means he's stabilizing his attack power. Oh crap, he's just going right into it. We might be in trouble. Nope. Well. Oh jeez. Okay, so apparently, because of the way agility works in this compared to the original, we are getting wrecked. So I'm gonna get, Rosa's gonna cure. And then we're going to let's see if this works. So he should counter this with Flare. That's our goal. When he casts Flare... No, he didn't. Okay. Might have hit a phase change. I'd be okay with that. Nope, there's the counter Flare. Perfect. Yang is the one we wanted him to target with that, potentially. Let's toss an X potion on Yang to get him back up. So this Big Bang should do less damage than the other one because he lowered his magic power to do... Maybe not. Okay. You know what? I don't think that it works the same way it's supposed to in the original, so we're just gonna stop worrying about it and heal and Phoenix down and call it good. Didn't counter black magic, so guess we'll just toss some quakes. Oh no, he did counter flare that time. So hopefully Cecil, Yang, Rosa will survive this. Everybody survived. Okay. We're having Yang Berserk because it should make him go a little faster. We're gonna have Rydia. Oh hey, we got next phase. So he will probably be casting Meteor here. Apparently, I'm out of X potions. I don't know if this is actually going to be helpful, but we'll do it. At this point, Yang's our big damage dealer. And he should survive this. The only one who might not is... yeah. That's gonna take Berserk off Yang. Might kill Rydia. Yep. So we're on to Meteor. This is the last phase for Zeromus. He's not going to cast Big Bang anymore. Shouldn't. Meteor is really weird because it has a really weird accuracy rating, which actually makes it much less scary than Big Bang. Because your evasion rates can trigger with it. So this is actually where Edge is going to be way better than he was previously, or should be, because he has good magic evasion, or evasion in general. Rosa shouldn't be taking a lot, or shouldn't be taking too much. There we go, full miss. There we go. So it looks like the nerfed Big Bangs don't work in this, but we were able to push through. Just a lot less stable of a fight than the one we would normally do in a randomizer. We cannot perish as long as evil exists in the hearts of the living. Well done. You hold much more power than I had expected. The race of the blue planet may have already evolved past us, Lunarians. Yeah, you might be right. You saw how strong we are. God damn it, Ed, shut up. However, humans are weak, as long as evil exists. True evil will never die. Every living creature has at least a touch of evil in its heart, as well as a touch of goodness. It is as sure as there is light and darkness, the overworld and the underworld. However, as long as evil exists, so too will good. The goodness you hold in you was what destroyed Zeromus. Oh, stop it, everyone. There was nothing to it. Shut up, Edge. What are you talking about? I was surprised Zeromus didn't try and control you. I'm sure you have enough evil inside. Nope, my heart is filled with goodness, all the way. Well, it is time for me to return to my home. What about everyone else? We will return home as well. There are people worried about us. I'm glad you have such wonderful friends. I look forward to the day we meet again. May I come along as well? Yes, I cannot return home after all I've done. I would very much like to meet my father's people. Lunarian blood flows in your veins. Very well, come along. You must be ready for a long, long sleep. I am prepared. Thank you. You sounded very worried when you called my name, Cecil. But of course, it is impossible to think that you could forgive me. Not I, who have done so much to hurt you and your people. We must go now and sleep. We will pray for the peace of your planet. You're gonna let him, simply going to let him go? He's your brother. Farewell. I've never really liked the Cecil Golbez dynamic with the brother thing. I don't dislike the fact that it exists. I hate that everyone's just like, how can you not forgive him? He's your brother. It's like, no, I get that he was controlled, and I'm not a big fan of there's this really weird dynamic that gets caused when characters are mind controlled. It's actually one of the problems I have with the story during Civil War as well. Marvel Civil War. Or Avengers Civil War, whatever. So there's this really weird thing where, like, on one hand, is someone who's mind controlled responsible for their actions? Should they be held accountable? And, like, if they're not under their own power. Like, it's one thing if a choice that they have made has led to that, but if they were completely powerless in that decision, like, especially if they are showing that they regret it. Then holding them accountable seems, I don't know, there's a weird dynamic there. So there I was on the slopes of Mount Ordeal. Whack! How many times are you going to be late? So yeah, I don't like that people are pressuring him about forgiveness, but I also don't like the fact that he is so unwilling to forgive when he was willing to forgive Cain. So it's kind of this weird dynamic. When you come to realize you have responsibilities, you're a prince. I know that, jeez. You know, for that comment Edge made earlier about people being kids, he's easily the most immature character along with Palom. And yeah. Let me see, he makes this little pining comment about Rydia. Another dynamic in this game I've never quite 100% agreed with. I totally see why Edge would be pining after her, but I believe the implication is that she returns those feelings, and I've never quite got that or understood that, but we'll see. We're all living creatures. We're all the same. Rydia is really cool as a character. I really like the way that she is once she's grown up. It feels like she is a very dynamic character, she grows a lot. Obviously, we miss a lot of that because she's in the Feymarch and she, time dilation weirdness. But I like the fact that that dynamic is actually there. So, King of Fabul passed away apparently. So Yang takes over. Not my favorite ending. Yang is a warrior, not a diplomat. Duke Consort. I think Yang will create a wonderful. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the old king who's now like helping, or if it's just another diplomat. Edward is actually another, like, as much crap as Edward gets, and he is really bad when he's actually in your party, but he grows a lot as a character throughout the game. And at this point, out of all of the people who take up rulership, which is like your whole party, he's the one who really exemplifies leadership qualities. And like, even at the beginning, he's willing to take risks and sacrifice for others, even if he's not good at it. And at this point, he has this moment where he's, putting the repair of his kingdom before his music, before his wants, before his quest, which I appreciate. That's not just because I like bards. We need to repair the castle with great haste. We don't have enough materials. Take apart the tanks, remove any useful pieces. There's no need to worry about war anymore. Apparently. I suppose all the peoples have come together. Makes sense. So Cecil gets to take over as the king, which we kind of got hints at. That's honestly, out of all of the non-royalty, that was the one that made the most sense to me. We do get some foreshadowing on Cecil. We see from the very beginning that the people of Baron respect Cecil. And, as the knight captain and everything. So we see Cain wants to test himself and go to Mount Ordeals. I really like that as the progression for Cain. He's trying to find forgiveness within himself. Oh. We get 2 random characters that I don't remember ever seeing. In a place I don't remember seeing. I'm assuming they're on Mysidia somewhere. And we see the red planet. And I believe they're going to be transporting back to the red planet. From the moon is the implication there. Although with how fast that's going, it's like a year's past or something. I'm not sure what that implication exactly was. So yeah. That is... Thought I heard my brother's voice. Right, getting ready. It's your big day. We must have lost track of time. And plenty of time for you lovebirds later. Your adoring public as well. You know, that's really weird. I was just gonna make a comment about the fact that I found it odd that Rosa had violet eyes. Like, it's an interesting aesthetic choice, but in her portrait she has green eyes. It's very odd. I mean, I guess that's pretty normal for Final Fantasy portraits versus regular versus sprites. We see that kind of stuff all the time with like hair colors, especially. Like a lot of the art for Terra has blonde hair. And we see right off the bat here, all of the characters have this. There's this sense that all of the characters still have their dynamic, that they still have personality, even without words, which is appreciated. I love that those little aspects like that of Hallam being, you know, Hallam going and flirting with the dwarf princess, and and I like that ending that Rydia doesn't. She acknowledges Edge, but she doesn't like make her way to stand next to him or something like that. It's a maybe someday. And it ends with a wedding. And that's Final Fantasy IV. I'm really glad I played this version of it. There's some neat stuff that I could have potentially done using my knowledge from playing Randomizer that I couldn't do during this one, because mostly with the agility system and some of the other little manipulations you can do, stuff like the way you approach Wyvern and Zeromus especially. But a lot of the other aspects of it were pretty straightforward. Still felt like the regular game. I find Final Fantasy IV to be really interesting to me because it's kind of the last... I mean, I guess 5 is still a kind of pure representation from the original. Like, as much as I like Final Fantasy VI, the earlier Final Fantasies have this purity to them. I think partially because they're very formulaic. 2 doesn't quite have the formula, but Final Fantasy II is really almost a predecessor for the Saga games more than Final Fantasy. But 1, 3, 4, 5 have class systems and crystals, and they're have this very high fantasy feeling of, you know, the quest. 1 this draws a lot from 1, especially. I like the fact that, unlike a lot of the other games, this one has this is the first one that has fixed class, or I think the only one up to this point that has fixed classes, which I like. There's not actually even a lot of games that replicate the fixed classes. Like, you'd think it would make sense as a formula to just have each character kind of representing their own thing, but the only other ones that really do that are 9 and 10. That have, you know, still the traditional Final Fantasy classes. You know, the knight and the monk and the... They didn't have a thief, but, you know, the bard and the ninja and... Like, they're the same class. White mage, summoner. But they're not... You can't swap them like you can with most of the other games that have this, or pick your party. So it gives them a lot more personality because you have them fitting their class. But they also each have their own little dynamic that makes them more of a person instead of just an archetype. And, you know, 9 takes that to an extreme. 9 does that same thing. 10 still does that, but it has a little bit less of that because it has characters that can be, you can adjust the characters, like, so they're not locked in as one class. They can learn other things. But at the same time, they do still fit the archetypes, and they do still represent them fairly well. So yeah, I guess it feels like a thing that'd be really easy for Final Fantasy to do. 6 does it a little bit, where each character still has their own little, like, command, and they still kind of have classes. But because of the way magic and espers work, it's a lot less so. And then 7, 8, 12, it's completely gone. 15 is not even a little bit. And I honestly don't know enough about 13 to comment. So to me, in a lot of ways, Final Fantasy IV and 4, 9, and 10 are kind of the highest archetypes of, or the best representations of the Final Fantasy archetype. Because they're this blend of the traditional, you know, pick your classes with generic characters and go save the crystals, with actual characters with personality and, you know, story. Because, you know, as classic as Final Fantasy 1, 3, 5 are, they don't have that same dynamic personality, deep characterization that 4 and 6 and 7 and on have. So, yeah, in a lot of ways, I think this is kind of the crux point between those two eras, which they replicated in 9 and I guess 10. You know what? No, I'm gonna take it back. 4 and 9. 10 still doesn't have equipment, which bothers me. Yeah, no, it's kind of this ultimate expression of that archetype. This version of it is neat. It's not perfect. I wish it had slightly better testing with, like, the way that the agility system works, so that it felt more natural. Because there were a lot of things that just felt off. And a lot of it is because of the way that battle system works. I kind of want to go back and play around with the other characters a bit, just to see what happens when you, like, take get Palamon Forum's weapons, or, I mean, especially, I'm really curious about Edward. You know, if you can actually get Edward to the point where he can be functional, But I don't think he's still going to be good against Zeromus because, I mean, it's the same reason you saw there. Edge and Rydia kept dying because their hit points are just not high enough at that point. Big Bang is ridiculous, and there's not really a good way around it. In this version of the game, apparently. So yeah. The extra dungeon was neat, but it wasn't anything really special. I like the idea of getting the characters back, and I understand that you have to have a way to add in weapons for them, so that because they haven't had equipment in forever, and there are some characters that just don't get good equipment. But honestly, the only one who really need them are Sid and Yang, and Yang's a maybe. So yeah. I don't know. That's Final Fantasy IV. Honestly, the number of times I've actually played through the regular game is very low. But I still really hold a high place for it. And it is kind of contrived, and the characters coming and going at the end is definitely a thing. Oh? The heck? Wait, is there a post-game dungeon? I swear, I went on the websites. Wait, what? Okay. So apparently, there is a post-game dungeon, and you have to beat the game with characters to unlock their doors in that dungeon. I have no idea what this means or what I'm going to do with it. I'm still also not sure if I want to deal with trying the other games on Complete Collection. Like, I don't feel like sitting here and grinding out multiple times through the ending is probably going to happen, but I might go down and try Lunar Ruins. Maybe. I'm curious about Interlude and After Years. But I've not heard a lot of good things about them. And I don't necessarily feel like the game needs a continuation. So I think this is gonna be I think I might leave it for now, and maybe we'll revisit it when I'm feeling Final Fantasy-ish again. And try something else in the meantime. We'll see. We'll see. I'm really still feeling the Final Fantasy IV itch. Maybe we'll go back and try Lunar Ruins or Interlude and After Years. So with that, this has been Final Fantasy IV. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I know I have. I really liked this version, and I think if you're not going to play the original, I do think this is probably one of the better versions that I've seen, and I do think that, I mean, the DS version's good too, but I really liked the way that this handled a lot of the stuff better than the DS version. So, this would be my recommendation. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. If you want to see more, let me know. And we'll go visit the Lunar Ruins, or, go get the other endgame weapons, try to beat the game with Edward, or do the interlude in the After Years, or, whatever. We'll look at it. And as always, have a good one. We'll catch you next time.